Well, hi everyone. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel, The Creative Woman. And today I received my first viewer request yesterday for the north and south nodes of the moon. And the specific one is Aquarius, north node, Leo, south node, and the house north node is in the 9th house and the south node is in the 3rd house. So I first want to say congratulations. Viewer, you know who you are. The first one to step out and blaze the trail for the rest of us, for the rest of the viewers out there. So congratulations. Congratulations. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And you are on your way to becoming a great leader. Okay? And finishing your own creation. Okay. Let's get started. Okay. So I'm going to start with North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo. Let me just find that really quick. Okay. Okay. All right. These nodes represent the struggle between the personal life and an impersonal dedication to humanity. The Leo South Node symbolizes prior lives where much revolved around the self. The North Node in Aquarius points to a future of service for mankind, where the individual will assume the role of the water bearer so that he may be an instrument in the crusade for world evolution. How awesome is that? Especially now that we just have entered into the Aquarius age. And we will be in that age for a couple thousand years, I believe. Before he can do this, or she can do this, the enormous power of the Leo South Node must be dealt with. From past incarnations, he or she has a tendency to look down on other people and to be condescending of their thoughts and ideas. There is an intense pride which leads him or her toward name dropping, as well as designing his or her life so that he or she is seen and known to be in the company of special people. He or she separates between royalty and the common man, setting him or herself or others close to him or her on pedestals. Seeing himself or herself as the central point of the universe, he or she views his or her powerful will as the means of obtaining his or her ends, rather than adjusting to a fair acceptance of life. And I just want to interject really quick. I know, for those of you that, of course, this is your South Node, that's why you're listening. And every one of us reading our South Nodes, it's not going to feel good. And this is exactly, each and every one of us we will see ourselves whether have done these things that it's saying about our South Node in the past or are doing them, because that's what we were programmed with. And it feels like the South Node feels like this is where and how we are going to get what we need in life by doing this South Node. But as you can see, that's not the case at all. But we don't know that. And so this is what we're learning. This is why we have to bring these things out into our consciousness. So again, courageous ones that are listening, I take my hat off to you, and you keep going. And also, save these videos, save them so that you can listen to them over and over again, because you will see new things and you will realize and see everything or new things every time you listen or read. Okay, let me go on now. Okay. His or her karma now is to learn how to walk lightly without leaving footsteps. For in essence, he or she is the ruler making ready to abdicate his or her throne. Constantly, his or her past life egos rears its ugly head, preventing him or her from achieving the very happiness he or she seeks. These nodes cause great difficulties in marriage, for the individual experiences a strong tendency to dominate those close to him or her. When he or she can't do this, he or she becomes a complete hermit, freeing himself or herself of all responsibility out of sheer disgust. While he or she asks others for advice, he or she still must do things his or her own way. The biggest conflicts center around what is artificial and what is real. There's so much martyr-like romanticism in his or her Leo South Node that he or she finds it easy to slip into the role of Don Quixote. Oh, I'm sorry, I probably butchered that. Don Quixote. Anyway, I apologize. Chasing windmills. He or she must learn how to shed masks, ultimately discovering that ego-centered displays of dignity are coming from past life habits and do very little now toward bringing him or her any lasting happiness. For those whom he or she does hold near and dear, he or she is highly protective and yet has a strange tendency to wander, finding on their journeys many of the waifs and strays of society. In these outermost regions where society overlooks its existential possibilities, he or she discovers new horizons to explore and conquer. He or she is destined to spend part of his or her life alone, for his or her unique character is too overbearing to be readily acceptable by most people. Although he or she enjoys having others recognize and applaud his or her grandiose achievements, he or she cannot stoop to chase people. This soul remembers a sense of pride, which now forbids him or her to compromise his or her dignity. And I just wanted to say too, really quick here, because what I was getting intuitively, is talking about a unique character to be too overbearing. Okay, well, that's a leader that is not, that is, okay, how can I, okay, I'm just going to say it. Narcissism, to me, a narcissist, and you can look this up, is the negative side, the negative tendency first, of course, especially with any of you that have this south node. That's going to be your tendency. But you now being courageous enough to take a look at this and to actually deal with this properly and take responsibility for it, that is a huge thing, because that narcissism turns into leadership, strong, benevolent, compassionate leadership in the future. That's what you're going towards. Okay. And also I want to say too, that the one thing that this writer, and I see all writers, most writers do this, and this, Martin Schulman is no different, even though it's very good information. Some of the way that he says it automatically leads, especially those of us who have a lot of guilt, to feel guilty, to feel shameful. And that's not the way that any of us should be, because there is no guilt, there is no shame, because this is what we were given at birth, every single one of us. So there's no fault, no shame. But I know that some of his writings, they do tend that way. So I just want to say that out loud first, and tell you that that's not. He also, of course, has his own south node, and when he was writing this, bought into that guilt and shame mode of writing. Anyway, okay, because he's not perfect either. Okay, let's see now. Okay. If given the right cause, he or she will sacrifice their entire life for it. It's not the sympathy of others that interests him or her so much as their admiration for his or her glorious deeds. He or she is repulsed by mediocrity, seeing it as a threat to their ever-present drive to reach the top, to burst the bubble, to grab for the brass ring. If he or she is of the negative type, they may even use people to achieve their ends. Friends, neighbors, and relatives become stepping stones on the rungs of their success ladder. Again, there's another. Not knowing, you think you're gonna, you will, as you keep going. If you, maybe right away, you can see how you've done that. And it's okay if you can't see right now, because you're not going to be able to see everything. This is brand new. Through the Aquarius North Node, this person learns to overcome their past life sense of prestige and develops the concept of universal brotherhood. There you go. He or she must ultimately come to see themselves as part of a larger cosmic sphere in which their role is to share in the burden of human evolution. That's where you're heading. And you've taken the first step. A huge leap. A huge leap. So I'm very proud of you. Each and every one of you. First and foremost, you know who you are, who was the first one to break the ice and enable me to read this to you and to all of those who come after you that have this same North and South node. And also I want to say too, it's perfect time because this month in January 2021, well, first of all, in December, we have Saturn and Jupiter go from Capricorn into Aquarius. And then this month, on the 9th of January, we have Mercury going into Aquarius. And then we have on the 20th of January, the Sun going into Aquarius. And then February, so that's 1, 2, that's 4 planets this month in Aquarius. And then in February, we have 3 more planets going. I think it's Venus, the Moon, Venus, the Moon, and another one I can't. Like the new moon. The new moon is going to be in Aquarius. No, the full moon is going to be in Aquarius. Wait a second. The new moon is going to be in Aquarius. Excuse me. And Venus. Anyway, 7 planets. So perfect time for all of the help you need, or a huge boost of Aquarius energy to assist you on this. So this is just tremendous. Okay, let me keep going here. Okay, he or she must ultimately come to see, oh, I just said this, I think, but let me read that again. He or she must ultimately come to see him or herself as part of a larger cosmic sphere in which his or her role is to share in the burden of human evolution. He or she will reach this greatest happiness when they are able to set aside their own needs and substitute in their place a new humanitarian attitude toward all they see around them, or everything that you see around you. I'm trying best because it says it just as he, so I am trying to, I don't know if I'm doing a good job or not, so hopefully it's understandable for both sexes here. Okay, so he or she is to forget pride and reach for new original horizons, no matter how eccentric your ideas seem to others. Through this North Node, you are given the promise of a unique adventure through which you can make an important contribution to the progress of civilization. That is so, so true. So true. The house position of the South Node indicates the area in life that is too burdened with desire for personal achievement. The house position of the North Node shows how the individual, you, can set yourself free from the shackles of the past life ego by realizing the mission for humanity for which you are destined to pick up that cross. That is so beautiful. Okay, so that is the end of that Aquarius North Node, Leo South Node. And please, if you have any questions or comments, I would love to hear them from you. And now let's go on and do that North Node in the 9th house, South Node in the 3rd. Let me see here. How's it going on? Okay, North Node in the 9th. 6th. As you can see, you might be able to see this book is well used. I have been using this. And Okay, here we go. 9th house, north node, 3rd house, south node. This individual is forever pulling him or herself out of webs of entanglement. Every relationship you enter becomes so complicated that you have to use all your energies to free yourself. In past incarnations, you developed a great need for people, and herein lies your weak spot. For as much as you now think you would like to be alone, you feel an almost compelling need to reach for others. You listen to problems and like to be in the position of giving advice. Often frustrated by the multitude of problems dumped into your lap, you secretly think that if you had had more education, you would be better equipped to cope with all the questions that befall you. You keep trying to be as diplomatic as possible and are constantly enmeshed in the afterthoughts of the words that you had spoken to others. Always conscious of the interpretation your words may be given, you nurture an inner fear of being misunderstood. As a result, you keep going back to yesterday's conversation to re-explain all that you meant. You must understand the essence of truth without having to feel compelled to make truth smaller by trying to communicate it verbally to others. One of your greatest problems is dealing with the karmic residue of an insatiable curiosity, which, although it served you well in former incarnations, now it keeps leading you deeper into webs of details. Your greatest crisis occurs each time you are forced to make decisions, for rather than relying on your intuition or your higher mind, you keep seeking more facts and details in the hope that when you have all the information, the decision-making process will be easier. Constantly striving to achieve neutrality, you become a paradox to yourself. In prior lives, you fell into the habit of identifying with catchy phrases, cute sayings, and euphemisms to the point that you have now become a walking cliche. Liking to read and explore a wonderland of knowledge that you see around you, your life is a constant thirst for more understanding. You are convinced that this is the one path in life that has no end. Whatever you become keenly interested in, you can make into a lifelong study, particularly if the South Node is in a fixed sign. Okay, and the South Node, okay, just a minute here. A fixed sign. Yeah, I know the North Node, Aquarius, that is a fixed sign. And Leo, I'm not sure. Leo, I can't remember now if Leo is a fixed sign or, okay, just a second here. Got Aries, Leo, and Sag. And I cannot remember which one Leo is. So I apologize for that. There's a good chance that it is fixed because Aquarius is fixed. So that's my guess. And I apologize for that because I should know that. but that has escaped me for the moment. But that's important. So if Leo is a fixed sign, let me read this one more time for you with the South Node in Leo and this South Node in the 3rd house. Whatever you become keenly interested in, you can make into a lifelong study, particularly if the South Node is in a fixed sign. You like to feel worldly. As a result, you'll do things that others wouldn't, just for the sake of experiencing a new understanding. Your current life is involved with so many people that hurt feelings are bound to fly, not because of any malicious intent, but rather through the inability to keep up with everyone in whose life you have become involved. Okay, as I was reading, I wanted to finish that sentence, and I will say that over again, but I was getting strongly, I need to say back with this, this South Node in the fixed sign. If you are, to me, becoming keenly interested in making your South and North nodes, your natal wheel, going in depth and studying that about yourself so that you can finish your own creation and you can be that leader that you are so capable of being in this life by once you have fulfilled your personal work here with these nodes, I see that as a positive thing. So I just wanted to put that out there. Now it's true, unless, you keep going round and round and you never actually complete it, then that would be too bad. But other than that, no, I see you could turn that around very positively for yourself. Okay, so let me go back or reread this one part again. His current life is involved with your current life is involved with so many people that hurt feelings are bound to fly, not because of any malicious intent, but rather through the inability to keep up with everyone in whose life you have become involved. At the very deepest of levels, you have many inner doubts about yourself, which become amplified when you speak with others. For if it were at all possible, you would try to be all things to all people. As a result of past life habits, you spend too much time in the lower mind. You go through more movement than you have to. And if this is not expressed physically, then you do it in thought. At times, your merry-go-round of possibilities is so great that you thoroughly drain yourself by thinking about what you should do. As a result, you do nothing. You will experience fears that you are sexually impotent. Once you start questioning along this track, your enormous thirst for understanding can lead you into a promiscuous behavior pattern until you are reassured that all is well and you are perfectly normal. And I want to say, if you, right now as I'm reading that, can if that's already what you have done or what you are doing, no guilt. No guilt at all. No guilt. Please, please. Believe me, I do understand about if you have read the drop down box below, for me, my South Node is in Scorpio, which is a sexual one as well, in the 8th house with my Neptune conjuncting. So it's a big one. So please, no feeling bad. Cut it off as quickly as you possibly can. I'm not going to tell you that there's no way you're not going to feel that, but that has to do with how we were taught to. The belief in sin, which I have learned through my years of researching and studying and digging deep, that sin is man-made. Laws of man were made by man. The universal laws are the laws of the universe. That's what we get to go by. That's what we are inherently called to go by. But man's laws, there are two separate laws, and man's laws is completely different. And many of the man's laws, or I can even say maybe even all of man's laws, were put to control us with, to enslave us, to make us believe, to feel guilty. That's what sin was. That's what that was made for. So research that. That's a big one to swallow, I know. And all of us bought into it from the beginning of time. But if you want and have this sounds right that you want to dig into that, then go online and listen to a man. He's a Dr. Ray Hagins, Hagins, and he lays out, he goes through step by step showing you facts, scientific facts, and from the Bible and the truth. So anyway, if that sounds right to you, and what really happened and how things were changed and we were lied to, everything, that's a good place to start, at least, if that's interesting to you. Okay. So, let me just go back up. I'm going to read that paragraph one more time. You will experience fears that you are sexually impotent. Once you start questioning along this track, your enormous thirst for understanding can lead you into a promiscuous behavior pattern until you are reassured that all is well and that you are perfectly normal. On your deepest level, you're not a sexual animal, but in fact, so mentally inclined that you have fears of being shut out from the nitty-gritty of life because of your mental inclinations. Like the young child afraid his peers will accuse him of being a bookworm, he will dare himself to prove that he can be accepted in a physically oriented world. Nevertheless, his greatest subconscious need is one day to become a walking encyclopedia, so that he will be caught, so that he will never be caught short, lacking the right piece of information at the right moment. Okay, so let me say that one more time so we can get that straight. Nevertheless, his greatest subconscious need is one day to become a walking encyclopedia so that you will never be caught short, lacking the right piece of information at the right moment. Your biggest growth comes when you learn how to make the karmic transition from lower to higher mind. That's beautiful. Let me say that one more time. Your biggest growth comes when you learn how to make the karmic transition from lower to higher mind. Okay, specifically you know who you are, viewer, my first viewer who asked for this, who asked for me to read this. I'm jumping back to the Libra monthly, January monthly, and that card was the transition card, the sacred geometry card that I pulled was the transition card. And here it's saying transition. Your soul, your deeper self, you are now wanting to do this. You are wanting because you are seeking this information. Again, I'm so proud of you. So very proud of you. Okay. Wow. As you drop your past life attachment to trivia, your eyes begin to open wide to the enormous horizons before you. The less you talk to others, the more faith you start to develop. You must learn how constantly to broaden your interests so that your scope of knowledge is not limited by the demands of your immediate circle of relationships. You do well when you learn how to step back so that you can see the forest from the trees. When you do this, you also learn how to let things slide off your back, which gives you a new sense of peace that somehow always eluded your reach. Traveling helps to broaden your perspective, and you meet your greatest successes far from your place of birth. Okay, you meet your greatest successes far from your place of birth. For some of the life will be influenced greatly by a foreigner. Okay. Yeah, higher mind, that's right. Other countries, the 9th house, Sagittarius North Node, it's the 9th house is the natural house of Sagittarius, but this is the 9th house North Node that I'm reading. Through the 9th house North Node, enormous spiritual growth is possible once the individual, you, have learned how to pull away from all of your prior life doubts and questions. You must take your mind out of a finite world and focus on the infinite consciousness. You will lose friends by doing this, for there are few who will fully understand your sudden aloofness. But through those who stay with you, you will learn the difference between a friend and an acquaintance. As you grow, you begin to focus on ideas rather than the words through which the ideas are expressed. You see how others limit themselves by language and try to speak to their ideas rather than to their words. Okay, let me see this. Okay, yes, okay. The sign which contains the South Node indicates the ways in which the soul memory of past incarnations is still too embedded in lower mind activities. The sign which contains the North Node shows the ways in which the individual can now free him or herself. You can free yourself through the broadening influence of your higher mind. Okay, the end. That was very, very good. Okay. Very good. Okay, so that's the end of this video. I just want to say really quick that any who are viewing this, if you would also like me to send you through the email, page by page I'll have to do. I'll take pictures of these words so you can not only have this video to listen to, but you can also on another level have a different, because it's hearing it, you reading it, seeing the words, it helps you in two different ways. So if you'd like me to also send you the written, let me know. And again, like right now I will know, but go ahead and put the house and the sign. Oh, excuse me. Yes, the house and the sign. But this one, of course, is going to be, I'm going to know that one. So, all right. So, blessings to all of you who are choosing to venture on your personal path to finishing your own creation. Okay. Until next time.